Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. We are back as a trio after I finished skiving off with a little bit of man flu. Accusations that I've been dodging it due to Arsenal's poor performances, but I can promise you it weren't the case. How's everyone doing, Ben? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. You're not getting away scot-free this week.
Nah, I'm ready for the battering. I'm ready. I was dodging the Discord today as we've got quite a few United fans in there. I didn't want to see what they had to say yesterday. Ben, Tony, it's normally you who's getting the stick from the United fans.
Yeah. Pass them on to you now. I've been praising United for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, only because you're bringing in Bruno Fernandes, wasn't it? But
yeah, I still didn't want him to do it though because I brought him in and didn't captain him. So,
well, we'll come to these teams in a moment, but we'll just quickly say hello to a few people joining us in the chat. So we've got Roberto, we've got Johnny, Miss Noopy, Mark Tavares, Ian Curry, Mr. H, Mark Warner. I've got to make sure I'm not double reading any of these. Nathan Wisby, we've got Josh, we've got plenty of you guys. Stevens in there, and Plevna. So good evening to you all. Cheers for giving us your Monday evenings. Shall we get straight into team updates? See how we've been getting on with this FA Cup weekender. We've obviously still got Premier League games to come at the time of recording. If you're listening later on, we're recording this live with our Patreon community and our YouTube channel members. So you can hit the join button or become a Patreon member with the link in the description below. But let's get straight into it as we plan for game week 20. So Ben, you're up first. How's it been?
Yeah, a lot better than last week anyway. And the FA Cup punts did all right for me actually. Starting with the goalie, apart from the goalie actually. So waiting last minute for a goalie update because I needed a goalie. I didn't want to move anybody else on because I brought Johnson in last week and I brought in Gabriel last week for this few double game weeks because I wanted to target Tamworth and I thought Arsenal would go strong against Man U in the Cup. And it both rewarded me with a goal from last week. We're waiting last minute for a goalie news. Went for Martinez. It was between Martinez, Onana and Kinski. Onana, we got the news that he weren't going to start against Arsenal. So I thought, no, I'm not going for that. And then with Villa playing on Friday night and no news of Martinez being injured, I thought, well, that's a safe one. Strong team against the Premier League side. And I went with it, and then obviously he didn't play, so he's got a slight injury. And hopefully he should be back for midweek. Probably just saying, you sit this one out because it's the Cup and you play in the league, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, would have been nice to, if I ended up with Kinski, get the old clean sheet there against Tamworth, but we just didn't know
to keep a clean sheet against Tamworth. I'd say that.
I know, yeah. Oof. Yeah, but yeah, it's just a bit up in the air at the moment at Spurs, isn't it, with the goalies? I've got rid of Forster now, so yeah, back to Martinez, who I had originally. Timber got 4, Gabriel got 9, Alexander-Arnold 17 points. Unbelievable. So he got a wicked scored in the other week, and then he got a 0, and then everyone sold him for the Cup because they thought he weren't going to start. I didn't really contemplate selling him off, just thought I'd leave him in and hopefully he'll play against Forest, but I did not expect him to start in the Cup, so buzzing with that. Johnson 14 points, goal and assist. Kulusevski come off the bench, got me a goal. Was that not an assist to Johnson?
I thought it was an assist for Solanke.
Didn't he Kulusevski tackle the fella and the ball went to Johnson? And that's how he scored the goal. But yeah, he didn't get the assist points. And I brought in Fernandes, another one who I did not expect to get much in this Arsenal game, but he scored a cracking cracking goal like. So, and I've captained him as well, targeting more the Southampton fixture in midweek. But yeah, bonus 8 points. Palmer, we knew, but we guessed he wouldn't start. So yeah, got him against Bournemouth. Hopefully at home.
Surprised he was on the bench, eh? Like after he was left out completely, wasn't he? In the sort of Carabao earlier round.
Yeah. Didn't need him, did they, in the end? So his deputy got a couple of goals, Felix. Isak didn't play. Didn't expect him to play, really, and he's got a slight knock, but hopefully be all right for midweek. Salah rested. Haaland rested. Yeah, 68 points, and I'm up to 564 now.
Nice.
I've seen some really bad scores with this FA Cup week. I've seen some zeros and 1-pointers, so I'm really buzzing with that.
Yeah, there have been a few up and downs, haven't there? Obviously, quite a few people played max captain, so have got some huge scores.
Yeah,
and then quite a few in between. But no, it looks like a good week. Your punt on Johnson, you'd have to say, is a success at this point, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We spoke about Kinski, didn't we? But we sort of discovered that he wouldn't be able to play Europe sort of on the final day, didn't we? When we were. Didn't you rely on ChatGPT, wasn't it, or Grok? You were asking AI about your transfers. That's the first.
I was doing it for a laugh, see what it said. It was saying Captain Haaland, so they obviously don't know too well who's starting for City.
Yeah. Some things AI can't do yet, but I'm sure it'll be there. Let's have a look at yours, Tony.
Yep. 2 transfers made this week was, after chatting about not making any transfers, because they're always dangerous. Isak out and Diaz out, so that could still come back to haunt me, because we're only 50% of the way through the week. Brought Fernandes in because I just know how highly owned they were going to be. He was the safe shout for captaincy because of the amount of minutes we knew he would get. Grabbed himself a goal against Arsenal. 8 points for him. And I brought in Morgan Rogers. Just bought a little bit different to the usual names that have been bandied about. 9 points, a goal for him. It weren't a great performance, to be fair. And he looked a little bit off it. But I'll take a goal. I'll take 9 points. Happy with that. Like I say, could still come back and bite me that, not having Isak. And if Diaz starts the next game against Forest, which is a tough game though for Liverpool, but they are playing well.
I was worried seeing Diaz on the bench, actually.
Yeah, but he'd come on and get 20 minutes or something.
Yeah,
but it's got away with that one. Obviously, we knew about Isak, so as soon as I heard that Isak he's carrying a little bit of a knock, and he won't have any involvement in that cup game, I think it was safe to take him out. I think a lot of people have done that, so I don't think he'll do me too much damage. But yeah, Diaz was the other one that got called. I left in Lewis Hall, who came on and got 2 points. Martinez, Ben touched on before, slight injury, hopefully back for Everton. Gabriel, 9 points, goal. Trent, wasn't expecting anything. It wasn't through great judgment to have him in there for the cup game, but I think with his poor showing the other week, maybe he's become the second choice at Liverpool. So that's why he played the cup game. Who knows? But yeah, a goal, clean sheet. Just about got a clean sheet.
Oh, yeah, that's
about 40 seconds or something.
That caused some trouble as well, didn't it? I see. I can't remember the guy's name, but someone on. I posted about the Trent Hall, and someone had commented saying that they already sent an angry email to Dream Team with proof it wasn't quite 60 minutes, but
I think the way they work is it's rounded up into the 60th minute. So it is worded a little bit wrong, 60 minutes played, but it's always been the same for everyone.
Yeah.
It's always worked that way, so no different. Yeah, Rogers has touched on 9 points, back in the team with a goal. So happy with that. Kulusevski off the bench in extra time, replaced Madison, which we're thankful of because Madison could have had a monster haul, to be fair. 90 minutes against Tamworth, but yeah, Kulusevski come on and grabbed himself a goal. Palmer did not play. Foden, my captain, he come off the bench to grab himself 5 points with an assist. And I kept, every time McAtee popped up with a goal, I kept thinking it were Foden. They look very similar. But yeah, the excitement was short-lived. 10 points though so far for him, which I'll take because I didn't really expect much. It was always a risk going against Fernandez, but he's only 3 points down, which I'd take going into the Brentford and Southampton games. Fernandez 8 points. Salah did not play. Haaland did not play. 63 so far. 756.
A lot of these like FA Cup punts kind of did pay off. Really, didn't they? Like obviously your Brennan Johnson one, Ben. Rogers paid off for you. I know a lot went Eze got the goal as well, didn't they? So yeah, I think the general community seemed to have made fairly good assumptions on who might start and stuff like that. Maybe apart from Trent and Porro that caused the few surprises, but nah, decent. Mine not so good this week. Well, it started badly and then improved. So yeah, I was having a problem trying to decide on who to bring Bruno Fernandes in for. So I had Diaz, who I removed for Bruno Fernandes, but I needed to find 0.9 somewhere to make that move. So those that sort of say budget's not relevant, I think I'm on 62 million, something like that. And it's still been a bit of an issue for me. So I went through the process of trying to look at a keeper, the same as Ben. Obviously, Martinez wouldn't have probably played off for me in that scenario, dropping Raya down. I think Raya probably caused the problem in the first place when I did bring him in because he's an expensive keeper. But just knew with the Arsenal boys, they would get the two fixtures. So I've got Raya, Gabriel, Timber at the back. Obviously, no clean sheet against United, but Gabriel popped up with a goal. Good shout for him to be our centre forward, I think, at the moment. 5 goals this season. About the most clinical one we've got in the squad. Timber went off with an injury that I didn't really notice during the game. I thought that was just a sort of tactical sub, but apparently it's nothing major and he should be okay. So we'll obviously get to see whether he plays against Spurs. But I bought Porro in for Trent in the end. So I was weighing up a few things. I didn't really want to lose Mbumo. I didn't think he'll start Plymouth, but I thought there could be a chance. And he was going to get that 0.3 rise as well. So I kind of thought I'd rather just hope that he gets to start and take Trent out because I thought there's probably no chance Trent starts. There was a slight thing, wasn't there, where Diaz and Trent were both rested for Spurs. You thought maybe they could get minutes, but deep down I didn't think Trent would start. So yeah, I think I fell from about 22nd down to about 70 something after that Trent haul, and I was like, geez, that's fluffed it a bit. But Porro then surprisingly started himself and got 9 points, so that clawed a bit back for us. Kulusevski, 8 points. Bruno was my captain, the same as Ben's, so 16 points for him. Maybe a little bit of consolation being at the Arsenal game yesterday. Great finish, wasn't it, really?
It was a cracking finish.
Mbumo, 1 point. A little bit disappointing. Obviously, he only come on for about 20 odd minutes, didn't he? Managed to have the player for the only cup upset, really, wasn't it? Brentford, Plymouth, the only real big upset. City still to play for him, so he should probably haul in that one. And then Palmer, Isak, Haaland, Salah, all with the blanks. So not the best week, but yeah, I felt a little bit better by the end of yesterday, opposed to the first Saturday. I think I finished Saturday on 1 point.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too bad. I'm 40th now, so I did claw a fair bit back, but yeah, not bad. Did you boys watch the Arsenal United game? Both of you?
Yeah, mate.
Ben?
Yeah, I watched bits of it while I was cooking. I had it on the tablet.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of the whole VAR situation, because watching the game, I was mixed. So it was actually quite nice to do you know even when Martinelli scored, as soon as the flag went up, it was nice to just know, okay, well, it's going to be offside. That's fine. Every decision that got made, you were like, well, that's final. That's okay. But then as the game sort of went on, there was a few things like when Ugarte, we were like, I'm sure he's just headbutted someone, but there's no VAR to check. But then, of course, when we watched the highlights back, Havertz pretty much grabbed him by the throat as well. So that could have been 2 players that went. I think the ref lost control of it a little bit. Obviously, the pen shout was a bit dodgy as well. So kind of watching the game, it felt better. But then watching the highlights, I think probably was actually worse. I don't know. What did you think on VAR?
You want the right decisions, don't you? Ultimately, it is nice. It's nice having that when the ball hits the back of the net, it's a goal. That emotion of knowing that I can just enjoy this more. Like there's no flag, the ref just points straight away to the centre circle. Just enjoy the moment. That we have lost that a little bit. It's not good. I mean, being a Rovers fan, I'm obviously watching Championship football and being at Championship football. Obviously, I watch the Premier League week in, week out with the VAR. But when I'm actually at the games, I've not experienced the VAR yet live for myself.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll enjoy it live. I don't think I've taken away that raw emotion. Like in the Championship, if there's a goal, it's a goal. There's no going back. Whether he's handballed it in, whether it were 5 mile offside, it doesn't matter. If it's not given, it's not given. It's tricky. It's tricky because, like you say, as the game was going on, so as now you're thinking, we need to pull something off here, and then when it's getting to the last 20 minutes and decisions that you think should go your way or aren't going your way, then you're like, well, it's like we need some help from somewhere. So where's VAR? It's like it is pretty much to do with that. Yeah, I think mostly you'd be happy without it, but you can see that the refs do now. I think with the Premier League refs, they're getting used to having that backup. And I think, like you said, the ref lost it a little bit, and it might have been down to the fact that he was having to ref the game himself.
Yeah. Out of practice, maybe a little bit, but
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think most Arsenal fans came away thinking it weren't the greatest refereeing performance, but then the United fans are in uproar as well about it. So yeah, maybe VAR is still the way. Who knows? Right, let's move on to some questions from our Patreon community and YouTube channel members. But actually, before we do, Ben is going to take us through the fixtures because we've had a few announcements pop up and there's a few things still up in the air. I just want to shout out actually Matt and Andy doing a great job on the last podcast for you guys, but obviously you were explaining a little bit the situation with the playoff rounds of Europe and stuff like that. So yeah, Ben, you can take us through a little bit of your fixture ticker that can be found for some of our Patreon members. Far away.
Yeah, obviously now with the FA Cup over, the third round, changes the tail of the ticker. So this is when it starts getting exciting, and you can start gaining on having extra fixtures from certain teams and getting your two for ones and your 4 for ones or whatever, because there's going to be some possible blanks coming up for certain teams in game week 23, with them being knocked out of the FA Cup. So obviously Arsenal been knocked out now, so they've got double game weeks all the way through from game week 20 with the Champions League in 20 and 21. And then 22, they've got their Carabao Cup second leg. So they've got a good run of fixtures there. But in 23, if they qualify through the Champions League top 8, they don't play the playoff in the Champions League. So if they do qualify in the top 8, then there'll be a blank there for Arsenal, because they're not playing in the FA Cup fourth round. And then in midweek is the playoffs for the Champions League first leg. All the European knockouts. So you've got the Europa League, Champions League, and Conference League. Chelsea are already through, so there's no playoff for Chelsea. And Liverpool basically through, 99.9% through. And today we have had an announcement. They've got the Everton rearrangement games going into game week 23 as well. So they've got a double game week with Plymouth and Everton, both away. But yeah, nice double. But in 24, they only have a single, because they won't be playing in the Champions League playoffs second leg. But so yeah, there could be a possibility to jump off Arsenal there if they'll only have one fixture in 2 game weeks, while other teams could be playing 4. Man City might play in the playoffs by the looks of it, the way it's going at the moment. So they could have like Leyton Orient and the Champions League playoff first leg, or Leyton Orient or Derby, sorry. They're still to play, I think it's tomorrow. So they've got the first leg then, and they've got Newcastle and then the second leg. So there could be a 4 for 1 over Arsenal there straight away. You still got a nice fixture for Arsenal with Leicester away, but I still think 4 for 1's worth a jump off there, possibly. So basically, FA Cup fourth round, game week 23, and then you got the start of the playoffs in 23 and 24. On the ticker as well, it's got all the amount of fixtures that every team's got each month. So going into February, Liverpool have got guaranteed 7 games. Man City have got a possible 7 games, but guaranteed 5, same as Arsenal, same as Villa, same as Man United. Tottenham could have a possible 8 fixtures if they go into the playoffs of the Europa League as well. So they've got double game weeks all the way through, as we just said, with Arsenal, and they've got their second leg of the Carabao Cup against Liverpool with a double with Brentford in 22. Then they've got the FA Cup fourth round against Villa and possible playoff in the Europa League first leg. And then in 24, Man United and the second leg playoff. And then obviously Ipswich and then Man City. So there's fixtures all the way through Tottenham if they go into the playoffs. And then the FA Cup on the ticket, FA Cup for 5th round is in game week 26. So as teams get knocked out, you'll see more teams will have more fixtures than the other teams, and then you could like pile on there or maybe go for a block defense or something like that. Is there anything you want to cover, Scott?
No, that's about it really. That's available to our indispensable player tier on Patreon. You get a few added benefits from the patron opposed to YouTube channel members. So on the screen here, the bits with the little YouTube sign next to it is what you get for being a YouTube channel member. But there's different tiers on the Patreon. So yeah, you can have a little look through those. But yeah, it's really handy to look through that every time there's any of those cup matches been decided. You get that updated nice and quickly. So yeah, really handy.
Oh, just quickly, yeah, and obviously on there it's got all the possible last 16, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and all the domestic cup where the fixtures are going to be, so you can sort of see where the teams could get extra games, and obviously you can see where the finals are as well, the dates of the finals.
Good for you that haven't blown your boosters as well, because I know a few people have been asking that I haven't played my goal bonus yet, or I haven't played my max captain yet. When's the next Prem double, or when's the cup double coming? So yeah, it's handy for that as well, isn't it? Really cool, man. Looks good. Just on Arsenal, have you thought about when you might remove your players? Because obviously you're going to want them out by 23 when they have that potential blank. But game week 22 is City and Newcastle. Thinking maybe move on week early.
I'm not sure. I'd probably be maybe defensively. I might jump off, but I haven't got no attacking Arsenal players at the minute anyway. But yeah,
you have Martinelli back by then.
I think I would just take. I think what's that, Scott?
I said you'll have Martinelli back by then.
No way. He's proper burnt me. Yeah, well, it's not him. It's Arteta. Every time he scores a couple of goals, you think, right, he's on a run now, and then he just rests him for a game. I don't know why. It's honest. You want your players to be on a bit of form, don't you? You don't want to stop the momentum. Arsenal, I'll probably keep them through 22, even though the fixtures are hard, because it's still a 2-for-1 over a lot of teams, and then you could possibly jump off there. Obviously, you've got more than 2 players, then it's a bit tricky. But probably start cutting down to at least 2 players by then.
Right, let's move on to some of our members' questions. And again, if you do want to support the channel, link in the description below, or you can hit the join button. But let's get straight into them. So, Roberto up first. Should I take Martinelli out? I wasn't even thinking about that when I asked you. He's got 2 home fixtures in game week 20, and surely guaranteed 290 minutes with the injuries they have. So yeah, some things have developed since your Martinelli rant last week, because we've now lost Gabriel Jesus as well. Looks like a serious one. So I think we're down to pretty much bare bones, unless some players are signed in the window. Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard, and not much else at the minute. Oh yeah, don't forget Sterling as well. What do you think, lads?
I can see him playing through middle. Obviously, maybe they drop Havertz back, Martinelli through middle, Trossard one side, Sterling the other. He's not. He's a frustrating player, Martinelli. He's talented, but he's not the best dream team asset. But he's playing in the front line in a good Arsenal team. So it's one of them. It weren't long ago we were thinking that Arsenal were pretty much fixture proof. I know obviously there's been a few injuries since then, but they do still have Odegaard. Why is Rice not playing much? Why is he being benched?
He had a broken toe, and he seems to have been managed since having that. So I think it is related to that, really. I think it might be one of these who's sort of playing with injections and stuff like that. I'm pretty certain. Yeah,
I think they miss Rice. I think he drives that team on. Top player. I wouldn't recommend taking a player out in Arsenal's front line that has got next 2 weeks both doubles, and he'll probably play, if he's fit, 4 lots of 90, I would guess.
Yeah, ben? I wouldn't probably target him, but if he was in my team, he'd be definitely well, I wouldn't say definitely, but depending on your team, he would more than likely be a hold, especially with two home fixtures and got Dinamo Zagreb in the second fixture. So
I think, depending what else you've got going on in your team, but maybe I'm a bit more down than others at the moment, but I would be thinking about moving him on at the minute. I just think the attack across these last two games, Newcastle and United, has just been terrible. And I've been arguing with my Arsenal mates and people online about it, going, "Oh, but they've had 8 XG across 2 games." Nah, it's been crosses into the box, it's been corners, it's been headers, penalties. It's not been good in attack, and especially not for Martinelli. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, say you put Martinelli in in a Newcastle, for example, where they are playing more on the counter and there's that space in behind to get into. I think he would be doing quite well. But the way we build up at the moment, and we let teams get really deep, it's just not. It's not what is good for Martinelli. He did have that one where he hit the post, didn't he? Was it Newcastle? And that's the sort of scenario you want him to get into. But those chances are never really happening. So yeah, I'd be moving him on. I think he's been pretty poor recently. But yeah, if you've got players that are going to play one game that maybe aren't Palmer, Isak, or, I think they're the two exceptions that I'd probably still rather keep over Martinelli at the moment. But yeah, feeling pretty down about him and the Arsenal attack as a whole, to be honest with you. I wouldn't get fooled by the next game Spurs, because that is probably going to be a game where we can get behind. But then, yeah, I can see a similar thing happening with Villa sitting deep again. So yeah, not feeling great about him.
Yeah. What about Havertz?
Boots on the wrong feet yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, I think they're just confidence all round. I think that none of them have stepped up since Saka's injury. I think they're all looking towards each other to do that job, and Ødegaard's dipped, Martinelli's dipped, Trossard's dipped, all at the time where they've been needed to step up in Saka's absence. So yeah, I wouldn't be getting Arsenal attackers in, and I probably wouldn't be keeping them either at the moment.
They are, from an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, just I'm looking at that Spurs one and thinking you wouldn't be surprised maybe if it is like a 3-2 or a high scoring game maybe. But then I know Villa have caused us problems quite a bit recently. So you might be sort of giving yourself a little bit of false hope maybe. But yeah, less of the Arsenal show. Palmer and Isak. This is Gromer's question. Thoughts on taking Palmer and Isak out, as many other players will have 2 games. So are these the exception when it comes to having doublers only? Tony?
Yeah, I think there are 2 of the players we touched on about carrying the Newcastle players through if you have to, because obviously they do have the Cup second leg in 22. They've got nice fixtures: Bournemouth at home, Southampton away. And then they've got the double home with Fulham and Arsenal. So if you do have to carry a player through, Isak's probably one of the better options. Cole Palmer goes without saying. They've got Wolves at home. Then they've got a tricky fixture at City, but is that not written for Cole Palmer to have a bit of a game up at the Etihad? Possibly. The players that can score double game week points in a game, so they're not players I would be frightened of holding on to. You just got to try and balance it out and go off your gut. Compare a Palmer against someone in his price bracket that's going to be playing 2 games, such as a Fernandes or a Ford and the likes of that. And yeah, you're going to try and be on the right side of it. But I wouldn't be worried about carrying them through now.
That's the scary bit about the ownership as well, isn't it? Because obviously I lost Trent, like I said earlier, because I need the budget. But in my head, the part of thinking was, I could obviously take out a Palmer on Isak because they'll only probably have one game. I was thinking, which one would hurt me more? Who's got a higher ceiling in maybe just the one game? Is it Trent? Is it Palmer? Is it Isak? And what's the ownership like? And I thought Palmer and Isak are the two that would hurt massively if it went wrong. Well, Trent hurt pretty bad as it is, so Palmer and Isak would probably have been awful if it did happen. So yeah, it's tough. What do you reckon, Ben? Taking them two out. I know you thought about it, didn't you?
Yeah. I've just been looking at the players' options, and like, there's not many players that I would probably take out for them at the moment, especially with the fixture they've got this week coming. I mean, was it Newcastle's got Wolves? Is it? Yeah. Newcastle got Bournemouth at home, and Chelsea's got Wolves at home.
Yeah.
And then there's like not many options from the double game week teams that I would be interested in at the minute, especially like these two are both penalty takers. Is there any other penalty takers out there that I can replace them with that I'd be interested in bringing in? Obviously, I've got Bruno Fernandes, but if you haven't got Bruno Fernandes, he could be one. He's got a double game week, 2 home matches, Brighton and Rangers, and then obviously another double the week after as well with Fulham and Steaua Bucharest. So he's one that I would be interested in. I'm not really interested in any other Man United players to take out for them. Man City options, possibly Foden. I like what Savinho's been doing lately, but I don't know. Gone a bit cold on that now. He got hooked early in the cup, which was probably a good sign because they were already smashing Salford. So it's probably a good sign that he'd probably start the weekend, and he's been doing really well. He's really good for the points bonus points as well. So them two could be options. Obviously, Liverpool, Diaz and Gakpo, I think, are probably the other two, apart from Salah, that are more nailed. Obviously, they're going to get minutes taken off them from Jota, Nunez, and the other lads, but they could be options. I'm not really keen on any Villa at the minute with the Arsenal fixture next week. Duran could be back in for Watkins at some point because he's just coming back from suspension. I like the Tottenham fixtures, Everton, Hoffenheim, and then Leicester, Elfsberg. But same again, there's a bit of a rotation thing there. Would you rather have Palmer one game on penalties against Wolves or Isak one game against Bournemouth, and then maybe reassess next week and have a look? Just take this one game week at a time, I think, maybe just hold it.
That's what makes it awkward. Like you mentioned, say like Diaz, you can't really guarantee that Diaz is going to get many more minutes across two than Palmer is across one, can you? If it's going to be 60 plus 30 and then you throw Pens in the mix, like you said. I was trying to work it out of the two, which one I'd prefer to move out first. Because like you mentioned, Palmer against City, that would probably be the one that I'd have in my head thinking I'll move him out that week. But then, I mean, Isak's got Southampton, hasn't he, in game week 21 as well. So you want to keep Isak for that. So I would have thought at first I'd be keeping Palmer first and keeping Palmer and selling Isak. But then you're going to want Isak probably for Southampton.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably, if you're going to hold him for that, you're going to probably just hold him for the double. So it is hard.
Yeah. And there's another thing as well. You could just go, right, I'm going to start from here and count the points. So you can go, right, Chelsea's got singles all the way through to game week 25. they've got 5 singles, and then you could go, right, I'm just going to have Diaz in my team all the way through. Liverpool's got doubles all the way up to 23. So I could just go, right, let's have a battle and see if Diaz can beat Palmer over this period and just take it on.
Yeah.
Or Kulusevski or someone like that, or Solanke. You could go like that and see if you can take him on.
We've got a question on it later on. We're comparing Solanke to one of those options, so we'll save that. But I think that's quite an interesting one. But yeah, there is no easy way of answering this one, is there? Because they can sting you. I was looking back at that Palmer. Palmer's got Wolves, hasn't he, coming up in Game Week 20, and that was the game where he got 3 assists and a goal himself.
Yeah,
a mega haul. So the only sort of semi-good thing is that, isn't it, Isak's got Wolves first and Palmer's got Bournemouth. Those fixtures reverse the week later. So then Chelsea play Wolves. So if Bournemouth put up a really good fight against Chelsea, then maybe you'll feel worse about having Isak the next week, or vice versa. If Wolves get absolutely smashed by Newcastle, you'll probably be thinking, I'm going to keep Palmer.
Yeah.
That's the only way I've sort of possibly looked at it. I think Jay Baker's question is actually quite similar. So is Isak an essential player? With the games he has coming up, should all be winnable and should score well compared to midfielders and attackers. So yes, we've pretty much covered that in the same one, really. Could you consider him as a season keeper, basically, or do you think you still will chase the extra games?
I would definitely look to chase the extra games. But yeah, Isak could be a hold through 2021, 22, and then obviously 23. It could be a single against Birmingham, and he might get rested for that. And then it's Man City in a single, so that could be a point to jump off there for a little bit, and then maybe come back in 25 when there's a double Premier League game week. But he's got no Europe, so it just depends who goes through, really. We'll get to see later down the line.
Like you talking about the fixture ticker, really, isn't it? The next lot of the semi-final is going to happen. The next round of the FA Cup is going to happen. So they go through in both. You're probably definitely considering him, aren't you?
Yeah, and then I forgot to mention as well, obviously in 28, we got the Carabao Cup final. Some teams are going to blank there, depending on who gets to the final as well, aren't they?
Yeah, their opponents.
Yeah, so like Newcastle's got Palace. So if Newcastle go through, Palace will be blanking. Tottenham go through, Fulham will be blanking. Arsenal go through, Chelsea will be blanking. So is it? Yeah, Chelsea will be blanking. So, and then it's the international. On the ticker, you'll see there's an international break as well. So it's only a single game week that week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Liverpool got Villa as well.
Grommer's question, Haaland captain next game week, but we'll do a whole breakdown on all of the captains in a bit. So we'll come back to that one, but thanks for the question, Grommer's. A couple team-related question, and then we're going to come to you guys in the chat as well. So, drop a like on the video if you guys haven't already. We've got Coles up first. Would you get rid of Gabriel and Robinson for Porro and Vardiol? What do you reckon on that, Tony?
I wouldn't be touching Gabriel right now. I think a mass exodus of Arsenal this week, I don't think is the way. I don't think that it's the way in 21. I know there's quite a few people. I think, have you got 3 defence, Scott? Have you tripled up?
I'm Raya, Gabriel, Timber at the minute. So,
I mean, obviously, you're probably going to drop Raya at some point because of budget. I think out of all of them, Gabriel, Timber, I wouldn't get rid of Gabriel unless you're doing it for funds. I'm not too sure what your budget's like, Coles, but if it was for funds, then you're pretty much saying I need to be able to afford Porro and Vardiol, I need to top up the Robinson money with Gabriel.
He's on a back three of Trent, obviously Trent, Robinson, and Gabriel. So he hasn't got any other Arsenal at the back.
If you could just manage to do Robinson to Vardiol, I like that move. I do like the obviously City, Ipswich, and PSG, and then a double of Chelsea and Bruges. We know City have to win these Champions League games now. They've got to go all out for these and try and qualify. So I don't mind moving across to City, but I just wouldn't get rid of Gabriel. I just think he's such a threat at set pieces. He gets on the end of so many of them. He's looking like he can score in every single game. And last thing you want to be doing is watching him celebrate while you took him out for Pedro Porro.
Yep, agree totally with Tony. I'd definitely be holding Gabriel through this period until obviously 23. Could think about selling him then, because I'll be blanking in the FA Cup fourth round. But yeah, Vardiol probably just above a Porro, just because of the jeopardy that City need to qualify. I think Tottenham was still getting the top 8 pretty easy. I think it's harder for City to get there. And obviously PSG is a tough match. PSG need to win. They're not even in the playoff positions. Yeah, I was looking earlier. Where are PSG? They're like 20.
They're really struggling.
25th.
They're not.
They're just outside the
They
playoffs.
have been over the last few years. They've lost a hell of a lot of their players, and yeah, I don't think they're as scary as they once was over the last 3 or 4 years.
Sorry to just jump in, but one thing I saw, by the way, is there's a site called Opta Analyst, and then you can go to all of the competitions, and there's a Champions League section, and they give you, it's not the likelihood of qualifying, but they've got everyone ranked. They've got everyone ranked in order of who they think is going to qualify where based on the stats, and then they've got like a percentage chance that of what position they'll finish in if you hover across it. So maybe I can pop a link in the comments to check that out. But yeah, they did a projection at the end of the last lot of games, so that I think they update that as it goes. I can only see the Champions League though. I can't see Europa League on there, but I thought it was quite handy to look at. I think all the English Champions League teams are projected to go through, except City. They're projected to be in the playoff rounds. So yeah, maybe they'll add the Europa League to that potentially.
Be good.
I wouldn't sell Gabriel either if you've only got the one. I would just wait until either that blank or the week before. I know Coles is a Newcastle fan. We've got City at home and Newcastle away, so he obviously thinks that Newcastle will smash us in that one as well. So maybe take him out. Maybe take him out for that one. But it's 5 goals, 2 assists for a centre back is crazy, isn't it? I think I'd just keep him in. It's not been great, has it? We've had 4 games in a row now, no clean sheets, but I still think we're solid at the back. I know I was downbeat about us going forward, but I'm still not really concerned about the defence. The defence is solid.
No, you've got the 2 doubles coming up. Until, like you said, until that maybe the City Newcastle one in 22, you could, I think, move away from the defence you wanted, because then obviously it's followed by, which is looking like a blank. So there's times, and I don't think next 2 game weeks is a time to get rid of Gabriel.
I do like both of his options, though. Obviously, I bought in Porro this week. Obviously, because I needed to downgrade, but I just think he's been pretty brilliant, really, across the last few games. So he had a spell of back-to-back assists. 9-point clean sheet against Liverpool was a bit of a surprise, but yeah, seems to get points in a lot of different ways, doesn't he? We've said it plenty of times, so I think he's a great buy still. I think I'd put Porro ahead of Vardiol at the moment. If you had to only bring in one out of those two, did you say you prefer Vardiol, Ben?
Yeah, I do prefer. I just have a feeling that he'll definitely play all those games. Porro might get rested in the Europa games. I mean, they're not guaranteed to go through, but they're like they're ninth or something, so they could still get in the top 8 pretty easy. Man City's 22nd, so they need to pull the finger out.
I suppose he's just done 120 minutes against Tamworth as well, and he's gonna he's gonna start Arsenal. So yeah, maybe one of those games is picked out as a rest for him potentially. Yeah, you could be right that Vardiol is maybe a bit more likely to get the games.
You see Jed Spence for the third goal. He's just like walking around with the ball in the back line and then just passes it out, does a couple of tricks down the wing, comes and crosses it. Just look like he's having a fun time.
I've still got.
That's what it should have been, though, shouldn't it?
It should have been like that from the kickoff, really. But yeah.
DT Phillip. He's got Palmer, Hall, and Isak going into game week 20. Out of the 3, which 2 would you take out for a double game week players, or would you hold them with their fixtures and roll a transfer? I don't think we need to talk Palmer and Isak much more than what we have already. But if you had to take 2 out of that combo this week ahead of game week 20, who would it be? Tony, go first.
Yeah, I think it'd be Hall.
And 1.
See, for me, so if you look at my team, it would be Hall, who I'm looking at replacing this week anyway. And I had the choice last week, and I took out Isak and left Palmer in. So that's my answer to my question, because I did it last week. So
if you look at the question 2, he's actually put his team there, so you can see if you want to read it out.
Yeah. So he's got. This is the thing, isn't it? Like, are you making that second move just for the sake of it, almost? Because that team looks good to me.
Yeah.
Kinski, Trent, Timber, Hall, Bruno, Kulusevski, Foden, Palmer, Isak, Haaland, Salah.
It's good, innit? Good team.
It's whether you're doing like a Hall and a Palmer or a Hall and Isak to upgrade Hall. Do you need the funds from the other singler? It's just one of them.
Well, obviously we've got the midweek games coming in. Timber and Isak are doubtful at the moment to play. They're more than likely going to play, but they have been. Timber's been had a knock and Isak's had a knock, so they could be the 2 transfers in the end, and you might have to keep Hull if it's longer term.
Yeah,
but yeah, Hull would be normally the first one out for me out of that, and then it's tricky.
Like I say, Hull could put in a 13, 14 points midweek, and next thing you know, you don't want to get rid of him. You think, I could just hold him for that single. Isak, I don't like the sound that he's picked up a niggle, because we know what he's like. He's
due an injury, and he's had a good run.
He has had a good run. Is Wilson not back yet?
No, he's injured.
the usual alternate, aren't they? Yeah. It doesn't sound good. You could imagine him probably missing the midweek game as well, which wouldn't be great for the people that's held him. It'd be nice for me who got rid, but yeah, I don't like that with Isak.
He loves a porky pie though, doesn't he? The Newcastle manager Eddie Howe. He'll withhold information, won't he?
Yeah, it's
when
true.
He gets the chance. So obviously we'll get to see that Prem game if he plays. But yeah, you can see him going off. You can see him. playing, doing well, going off early and saying, "Oh yeah, you got tightness again. We'll keep that quiet till the next game." Not silly, are they? Porro would be an all right replacement, wouldn't he? We've just mentioned him, or Vardiol, who Cole said. So, what was you going to say?
I was just going to say, if it's budget, that obviously you're looking at taking in that the either Palmer or Isak to replace Hall. I would look no further than Rico Lewis. Very, very cheap. Pretty much nailed. Kyle Walker's disappearing, or he's asked to leave. So, I mean, Rico Lewis, I think last time I looked, he was 2.8 million. I don't know where he went down. But, I mean, that's a steal into that City defence. And not just as defence, he's a decent player going forward as well. Threatens quite a bit.
3.1 at the moment now.
So he's gone up. It's 3.1. Yeah. But still, decent option.
I've got a feeling you might be looking towards Timber. If he does now get rested for that Spurs game, I think you might be looking to get him out. So yeah. Might be out of your hands. That's the only thing about having midweek games. Anything to add, Ben? We've got a few people. He's asking who would we consider bringing in. So obviously mentioned a couple there.
Yeah, Vardiol, Porro, or even bring Gabriel in for this period. He's got 3 double game weeks still to go before the possible blank in 23.
They're not bad either, are they? Villa, Zagreb. I know I said Villa are tough, but they're both at home. Wolves away, Girona away. You'd at least think them 2 weeks are pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. Noopy, Miss Noopy, seen you in the chat there as well, so hello. She has Forster, Mazraoui, Gabriel, Timber, Foden, Erdegaard, Kulusevski, Palmer, Bruno, Isak, Salah. So she's taking Erdegaard out for Haaland, so she's gone without Haaland for the last couple of weeks, I think. And then she's looking to replace Forster, who's obviously seems to have lost his place to Kinski now. But she'd only have 2.2 for the replacement in goal. Now, she wants to get Kinski in, but obviously I'm guessing she's priced out at the moment. So she's looking, Ben, I'll let you pronounce this. Your keeper at Leicester.
Stelarczyk.
Yep, him. she's wondering, should she go for him potentially? Walton from Ipswich, who's got City, who's just replaced Juric, who was my boy for a while. Or leave the second transfer and keep Forster in, hope that he plays the Europa League game. Or do we have any better suggestions at the measly price of 2.2? I'll let you go, Ben, first, because you're, well, apart from this week's decision on a keeper, you're normally Mr. Cheap Keeper. 2.2.
I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if Hermansen might be back soon. It's still like hush, hush. I think they rested him for the if he was back, they rested him for the FA Cup. The last thing that was on the 9th, they said that no update in terms of training with Hermansen, so he'll be out a bit longer. He's definitely first choice. Stolarczyk's doing all right, but we still haven't had a clean sheet for ages, so couldn't even get a clean sheet against QPR in the cup.
Defenders are too busy scoring, aren't they?
Yeah. Bloody Justin's got another brace after he keeps giving goals away and then scoring braces, so might just put him up front. Yeah, so Forster looks like he might play the European games with Kinski being cup tied in Europe. So he might still get one fixture a week. Or he said Vicario's back in training, but surely he won't be put straight back in. He's supposed to be due back next month anyway.
Yeah, I think he's just posting a few photos,
Like
isn't it?
it'll be light training and stuff like
Saw
that.
Kinski do well and just pulled his finger out a bit.
Obviously, still early days. I'll see what happens later in the week. I would message us in the chat, Miss Snoopy, because we don't know what's going to happen until the deadline. But yeah, I looked. But Bayinda, possibly could he get European games?
I've got a one on that. Put Binder in at whatever he is. He's going to go 0.3. And then just get his peripherized this week. And then next week, if you put in someone that's going to drop, like possibly Dubravka or Fabianski, they would then drop into your budget. Could be a way of tackling it, and then obviously then jump to one of them.
Yeah.
You
wanted somebody a little bit better, but you are burning transfers there to do that.
But if you're happy with the rest of your team, I suppose you could do that. Yeah. But yeah, Bayinda's definitely going to go up 0.3, I would imagine, after a clean sheet and saving a penalty in that. Not clean sheet, sorry. Saving a penalty and
yeah,
he got 9 points in the end. So, and he's only 1.4, and obviously you've got 2.2, so that's a 0.8 towards something else.
He got the final laugh, didn't he? But did you see his kicking yesterday?
Yeah,
he got the last laugh.
Yeah, I can't. That's probably the best penalty saves I've ever seen, though. How he got into the corner, right in the corner, both times.
That Odegaard's penalty was not a bad penalty.
Both penalties. Havertz was decent as well.
They were all
they
were all penalty saves, weren't they?
Definitely.
You could argue they could have had a bit more power on them or what that, but he saved those pens. Those pens were no worse than the pens that United took, I didn't think, apart from Raya dived 5 seconds before they were taken.
Ahmad's penalty was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a really good one. That was a really good one. I was right down the other end. I was right down the other end behind the goal and really low down. So do you know where they make the sort of huddle on the halfway line? It's basically blocking the goal. I was like trying to see. That was a nightmare. If we wait and see what happens with Martinez, obviously Emery sort of said it wasn't serious, but Olsen's 1.6. If he doesn't play, what's the next game? Everton. If he doesn't play that, and it turns out to be something more serious, if Olsen potentially gets the double, could be worth a little gamble, but. Or I was going to say with West Ham as well. I mean, if you did just want a sort of 1 week punt or a short term punt, which way round did they do it? Did they play Fabianski?
Yeah, Fabianski played this week.
They played Fabianski in the cup. So does that mean they might play Areola? We don't know because Potter's the new manager. But if they play Areola now in the Prem, you'd probably assume Areola's the keeper, and he's 1.9. So you could go towards him just for a week, but it probably isn't going to work in your favour budget-wise.
Areola was playing before that, weren't he? So
he'd lost his place for a little while.
But then did he not? He not played the last three? Did he not? Hold
on. Got injured, and then came back. Fabianski.
So you're back for the Liverpool and City game.
Yeah.
And then obviously didn't play the cup game against Villa, which was obviously
Potter's first game. So we might get a bit more
info there. Punt though. Punt at 1.9 million.
Yeah. Just if you might end up finding yourself keeping him though if you're going to go there. If you are adamant you want Kinski, maybe you do want to just build a bit of budget, maybe. But a few options. Brothers up next. So again, the Palmer and Isak thing coming up again. But apart from Palmer and Isak, he has 2 non-European players in Eze and Castagne in his team. I was planning on taking them out, but Emi Martinez may have an injury. If he does have an injury and is set to miss games, do I get rid of Martinez and Castagne and keep Eze, or get rid of the 2 non-Euro players and play game week 20 with no keeper? Who's the priority? Who's the priority, I guess, if Martinez is out, and who's the priority if Martinez is back for Bradders?
Eze is one of them, isn't he? That is West Ham game. He can do a bit of damage. It looked like he was going to have an absolute monster. All yesterday when he scored within a minute or two. He's one of them where I would not be scared of keeping Eze. He could score very, very good amounts of points in just a single. So I still don't think it's necessary. Keepers do not score a lot of points. Look at the keepers' points. There's a few that are obviously up and away. Like Raya 140, Martinez 110. But all your mid-range keepers, pretty much 60, 70 points.
And that's what can happen, isn't it? I've got Raya, 3 points, 2 points, 3 points, 2 points. He had the 7 against Ipswich, but it's been very low, isn't it?
But for 4.5 million,
yeah,
you want more out of that budget. So
it's not far off Eze money, is it?
No. So it's ideal you have a keeper, but I would never ever prioritize it. If it meant I couldn't do what I wanted outfield, I'd just play with no keeper.
Yeah. The only downside is if Eze's your money guy there, isn't he? Because Castagne's cheap. I still think you'd sell Eze before you sold Isak or Palmer.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, normally I just move on the outfield players and try and maximise the points. But Eze, what's he got? West Ham. Yeah, I wouldn't mind holding him even in a single, and probably normally I'd like the goalies aren't really exciting at the moment. Like there's a lot of rotation there, isn't there, with the keepers in the top European teams. So yeah, I'd be tempted to hold Eze and just get like a Kinski, even though he's not going to play in Europe. He's just a nice cheap price. Put him in there, free some money up. So he'll have 2 singles and then he'll have a double in 22 when they've got Brentford and Liverpool in the Cup. And then obviously if they're in the playoffs and they've got another 2 doubles. So I would be tempted to keep Eze for that unless there's a big hitter like Bruno you haven't got in there. Then I'd go the Bruno, take Eze out and just go with no keeper. Just depending what your team's like.
I'd assume, I think he's got Bruno here because his second question is what midfielders, excluding Palmer, Kulu and Bruno, are decent transfers for the next coming weeks? I was thinking another Spurs midfielder, either Maddison or Johnson, or is it risky with their rotation? So that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of the ones that we're going to name aren't guaranteed the 2 starts, so it could just be single for one of these guys versus single for Eze. And Eze's about as good as it gets when it comes to just a one-off game, isn't it? So should we reel off some players that we like the look of for the next week or so in midfield? So you mentioned Savinho, didn't you? I think that's a really good shout.
Foden, Savinho, definitely up there. Double game weeks, and they seem to be. He seems to be trying to keep his team pretty settled now because they've had a lot of bad results, and they're starting to get some good results now. So I could see Savinho and Foden getting a lot of minutes, and then obviously Liverpool, good options. not guaranteed 90 minutes, but they're still explosive, like Diaz, Gakpo. But yeah, who do you prefer out of Maddison and Johnson? Obviously, Maddison's the bonus point man, but it's not nailed, is he?
Probably Johnson. I think probably Johnson. Even though I had Maddison, something changed, didn't it, midway through this season with Maddison? Whether he's sort of playing with a knock or something, or he just found that he preferred the midfield to be a bit sturdier, with like Sarr and Basuma and Kulusevski doing quite well. Something definitely changed. And then when Johnson does play, he always does seem to deliver, don't he?
Yeah.
Even if it's off the bench. So probably at the moment, Johnson.
I think with them two, I think you can bounce around on and off them and be on the wrong side of it every single week.
Yeah.
I think that both them types of players, aren't they? I think you probably have to just pick one and stick with him like over like a 4-week period. I think you'd have to be very, very fortunate to jump on and off or put the right one in at the right time. It's like obviously Johnson had his little flurry, like back-to-back goals and doing really well. Then he went off the boil a little bit. Maddison come in and started hitting double digits. Then he dropped back out.
You put Rodgers ahead of those two. Obviously you bought Rodgers in, Tony. So I'm guessing you would think the same. But surely,
I think with Rodgers, it was more about positioning. He's a bit of a darling there at Villa now, and you've got that doubt with Watkins, Duran, who's going to play. They've definitely eaten into each of his minutes, whereas Rodgers is one of the driving forces behind that Villa attack that plays a lot of the minutes. So it's more about he's more secure in the sense that he's playing in a decent attack. He's having a great season, like Maddison and Johnson. They aren't nailed, and I think that's just really well gone for. And when it comes to the European games, I just think you pretty much know what Villa are going to do. With Spurs, it's flip a coin. Flip a coin. Is Porro going to start the next one? It's like, who expected Porro to start against bloody Tamworth? Nobody. I'm pretty sure I've seen quite a few DJ Spence. People brought Spence in, expecting him to play that game, and next thing you know, Porro's lined up. Weird one. So you just don't know. Second guessing it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other sort of midfielders to really add. I know we've mentioned Diaz there, Johnson, Maddison. I think Rodgers really good shout. Savinho. You want to start looking to these European teams, don't you? And then the pool is getting smaller with looking towards who could get playoffs as well. Not really anything outside of Bruno, is there, at United, where Diallo's a striker? Any? It's not, is there?
No one has nailed. I mean, Garnacho did all right the weekend, but we don't know if he's in the good books yet. Are we being a bit blind towards Newcastle options, even though it's single fixtures?
What, with Gordon?
Yeah.
Bruno?
Gordon especially, second choice penalty taker as well.
Yeah.
If Isak's injured.
Bit fortunate that one, wasn't it? I think there was quite a few things across this weekend, weren't there? Obviously Gordon scoring that pen. Trent, Porro. It's gone in our favours, I think, a little bit. Yeah, I probably wouldn't bring Newcastle in now. Unless it was for that double in the Carabao. He's got part 3. Is anyone contemplating taking out Isak away at Southampton in GW20 for Solanke, who will play Leicester at home and then potentially Elfsborg home. I thought this was a really tough one. Reading the first part, you think, I'm never going to take Isak out for Southampton away. But then this would be a classic
think,
you play the fixtures scenario.
Yeah. But away at Southampton, home to Leicester, I mean, you'd want both of them, wouldn't you? So if you've already got Isak in your team, are you going to use a transfer to take him out? That's what doesn't make sense. Because really, you'd be looking at some people would be looking, I'll bring Isak back in for that Southampton game. Even though it's only a single, it's still a pun fixture. Solanke's got a good fixture against Leicester, but to take Isak out against Southampton could be very, very dangerous, whether you bring in Solanke or not. What I would say is, if you had Solanke, you'd hold him for Leicester. If you had Isak, you'd hold him for Southampton, and you'd put your transfers elsewhere. That's the safest option, because otherwise you're probably gonna live to regret it, or you might get away with it. But when you say about at the end of the week, you want to make sure you've done things that made sense, and taking Isak out against Southampton is no. Because I don't. Do we really think Solanke's getting that Elfsborg game? Is he?
No. I mean, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, if they beat Hoffenheim, we might get a better idea of what they need from the final game to then avoid the playoffs, or whether or not they'll be sort of okay. But he's playing a lot of games, or a lot of minutes. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I'm not. I agree with Tony on that. Like, if you have Isak in there, would you really want to take him out when he's got Southampton next and he's been on fire? He's on for that goal scoring run as well, still in the Premier League, trying to break Jamie Vardy's record. I think he's on 7 games in a row in the league. But he obviously scored in the cup as well, didn't he? In the Carabao Cup, but that doesn't count. Yeah, we're not counting that. Yeah, but like you say, if Tottenham win next week in the Europa League, then they're on 14 points, and depending on the other results, they could only need a draw or something in the last game, so they might rest him and bring him on or something, so it might not be worth it.
I did a bit of digging. On some points against Southampton to maybe make a compelling argument. So we'll get rid of the Swansea fixture, because obviously there's no Swansea players in Dream Team. Last game for Southampton before that, Brentford. And Mbumo, probably their main man, wasn't it? 23 points. The game before that, they played Palace. Who's Palace's main man?
Eze.
15 points. There was a 1-0 West Ham Southampton. Who was West Ham's main man?
Bowen,
9 points. There was a Fulham 0-0, which we didn't see many points, but then it was Spurs before that. Spurs put 5 past them, and you had Son on 19 points, Maddison on 19 points, and Kulusevski on 10 points. So you're taking a big risk, aren't you? That's pretty much the main man from each team that's played Southampton has hauled recently.
Yeah.
So that's kind of enough to spook me, I think.
Yeah, I just don't think you're swapping either of them players with them fixtures. If you've got Isak, I'd stick with him. If you can, I mean, it's a lovely fixture for Solanke. Not like you want to hear that, Ben, but like defensively, obviously, Leicester haven't been at the races much of the season, so it is a good fixture for Spurs. But yeah, I mean, that could go. They could both have 15-point hauls, couldn't they?
Yeah, it's risk reward. You yeah, can't comfortably give you the answer, but I would be worried about doing it. Best captain picks for game week 20. So I was going to run you through a few of the fixtures. I'm just going to have a little cough. so Tony, do you want to talk us through your captain picks?
Yeah, obviously, main man Mo Salah's got Brentford and Lille, which is a decent little double there. So I think he'll be very high up on the list again this week. But I like Haaland's double. Ipswich, PSG. They're not, like, obviously PSG is not the easy fixture, but I just think the tide is starting to turn back with City. And as they grow in confidence, I think they're due a big result against like a statement result to say they're back. And I think that PSG game is going to be it. And Haaland loves a Champions League goal. I could probably see him getting a hat trick in that. And obviously that's off the back of a decent fixture against Ipswich where he could do some real damage as well. So I think Haaland, Salah, I mean, obviously they're the two main men, aren't they? Haaland's been a bit quiet for his standards, like main captain wise. He's not been the main choice for quite a few weeks now. So, but I think we could see his percentage of captaincy quite high this week. They're going into 20. Yeah. I think Bruno will still be quite high as well. 2 home games, Brighton Rangers. I think there'll be some people that do take Salah and Haaland on and go for Bruno. But United, they seem to be running a little bit more. I am gonna deep dive into their running stats because I know for quite a while they've been pretty poor ground covered, but the effort that they've shown in that Arsenal game were pretty good. Back to what it should be and showed a bit of resilience as well. So I think they could have a good week, United, off the back of that. It could be a bit of a springboard, that Arsenal result. I know it's only a cup game, an FA Cup third round game, but it's like sometimes you just need that bit of momentum. I don't know. It's just one of them results in it that just go and it could drive you on now for the next 6-7 weeks. So we'll see that from United and see whether that works out. But I think Fernandes for the differential. I still think there'll be quite a few that captain him, but not as high as it's been. And I think Haaland and Salah. Haaland, I think, might just pip it this week.
I think that's going to be a 50-50 kind of week. Or maybe, with a little sprinkling of Bruno differential. I've highlighted Haaland, Salah. And I think, obviously, form going into it is going to play a part, but I think I'm leaning Haaland at the minute. Similar to the Isak Palmer debate, we're going to see, this in the next day or two, we're going to see Haaland play against Brentford away. And then the following week, that week we're talking about, is going to be Salah Brentford away. So that could come into if Brentford put in a proper defensive shift against City, I think that could put us off of going maybe Salah against Brentford away. But the Salah Champions League fixture against Lille is obviously the better one, isn't it, than away at PSG. But I did see that Lille are 19 games unbeaten. It's pretty mad. But there's a load of draws in there, like 9 draws. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a tough call. Actually, I think I'm leaning Haaland though. What do you think, Ben, on the captaincy for 20?
I really like the Bruno double game. week, Brighton at home, Rangers at home. That could be a good one. Yeah, Haaland obviously, Ipswich away, but Ipswich are doing a bit better now. I'm not sure if that's such a plum fixture now. Yeah, and obviously Salah, Brentford, Lille. They're probably the three favourites, aren't they? And then you've got Tottenham's got a good double game week, but there's no one you would say, oh yeah, he's going to get a couple of goals. Definitely is a bit of Tottenham. So yeah, probably them three I mentioned before.
Yeah, this next game is gonna play into it massively, isn't it? In terms of like recency. We're all a bit prone to that. If Haaland blanks against Brentford, we're probably gonna be put off him, or if Salah ends up hauling away at Forest, can't deny, can we, that that's probably gonna have a bit of a influence. I don't think I'll go back to back Bruno, but we'll see. We'll see how he ends the week, I suppose. Some late entries, so we haven't had a chance to prep for these. But Ian, is are Porro and Johnson too Spursy, or are you better off with Lewis and Savinho? Now City appear to have turned the corner. Porro, I never think he's keeping a clean sheet, but seems to be scoring points. And you've got Johnson there. Who would you prefer if you had to go for both of them? Maybe as a pair. Yeah,
it's close. I do like Porro, and Johnson can go off in any game, and he's getting minutes in most games as well. And so I don't know. I like the Lewis Savinho as well. I think Lewis Savinho might be more nailed over this period, but Tottenham's got that double game week in 22 as well. So, yeah. If I had to go for it, I probably... I don't know.
I mean, the ideal looks... Yeah, I think the ideal looks like Porro and Savinho if you can make that work.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's necessarily... I don't know if he's necessarily asking are these like two to decide between, but yeah. Porro Sav.
Yeah, Porro Savinho, definitely. That I like that. Then rather than the two Spurs or the two City.
Stephen W. Game week 20 sees the return of European football. Do you expect managers to move away from those non-European team players such as Gordon and Bumo and Hall? Obviously, we spoke Isak and Palmer to death, but what about those three? Would you move on Gordon right now, or would you keep him for the single, the same as Isak?
I think he's in the same boat, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think with what's that, obviously Isak has got a flag, Timber flag, Martinez flag, some highly owned players there with flags. This is where it wasn't the worst thing in the world to bring in Newcastle players like Gordon, Hall. Obviously, Bumo's been a nice carry through as well, even with his singles. He's been doing all right. I think there might be the other things to tidy up, maybe. So you might see Gordon's forced to stay in some teams because they don't have the luxury of just taking out a player they know is going to play. So I do expect most people to move away if possible. But I think with the few injuries that are scattered around at the minute, you might see their ownership just hold on for a little bit longer. And form obviously comes into it.
That's fair. Ben?
Yeah, obviously with Brentford going out the FA Cup as well. So they'll definitely blank in game week 23. And then they've got obviously midweek Man City, which is already in game week 19. so that they've got tough fixtures: Liverpool at home, Palace away, and Tottenham at home before the blank in 23. Mbumo's obviously on penalties and talisman. You can still get good points, but you've got to try and maximise the fixtures, I think, and jump on someone who's got double game weeks over the next few weeks and should get more points than Mbumo. Gordon, on the other hand, might be worth holding for one more week and then reassess next week. But then you're going to probably hold him through with the Southampton fixture, and then he's got the double in 22. So Gordon's not so much of a rush to get rid of for me. And even if you get stuck with Hull, same situation. He's all right to hold at least up until 23 when they play Birmingham in the Cup. But yeah, I think most engaged managers will be looking for the extra games.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement. I'm almost certainly going to move Mbumo on this week. Gordon, I'd consider holding, and I probably would move Hall on if I had him, but depending on no other fires in the team. I think we've spoken about the European fixtures, but he said, is there any European fixtures that you're not interested in? I don't think there's any that are fully off-putting till the playoffs are decided, I think, but any that you are dodging completely?
It's just going two in on Spurs and not knowing what they're going to play is one that always it's been a bit of a frustrating one this season with Spurs, but and then Liverpool, will they rotate when they're pretty much through? But I think we were talking about this, Ben, weren't we, on the other pod about the seeding, and we were trying to work out, so if they finish as high up as possible, that should they should still be going for it, regardless of whether they've qualified for the top 8 or not.
Yeah, you're going to add that to the ticker as well, aren't you? The how the seeding will work, so that will help out there as well.
Yeah, that'll be on there some point tonight.
Right, we'll quickly pick out a few from the chat. That's still been a longer one than anticipated here, but we'll quickly pick out a few from the chat because I've seen a few. So Johnny Yates is here. Question from me: looking ahead to this game week, how does a Wood Havertz? So how would Wood Havertz, Trent to Porro, or B Wood to Solanke, Trent to Van Dijk sound? That's not considering bringing Havertz in, is it?
Yeah. Wood to Havertz, Trent to Porro. Wood to Solanke, Trent to Van Dijk.
What do you think there? I would not be bringing in Havertz at the moment. He's such a...
Surely, no, it's not. It can't be.
He's such a confident player. And yesterday will be a hard one.
He's not about bringing Wood in for the Southampton game.
No, Wood's got Liverpool. Oh, no, that's still this game week, isn't it?
Yeah, Wood Southampton's a good fixture. Would be worth if he's got Wood, would be worth holding him for a differential.
Yeah, Johnny, let us know if you've got Wood. I think B looks better.
No, hold on. No. Right, so he's saying...
Oh, no, he's saying, Wood to Solanke.
Wood and Havertz.
So obviously got...
So, no, he'd be saying Wood and Havertz, so hold Wood and Havertz. Have Wood and Havertz, and then Trent out to Porro, or have Wood and Solanke and Trent to Van Dijk. Am I not right there? No?
You'll have to rewrite your question again, Johnny. I think we're getting confused.
Where are you, Johnny?
Either drop a comment on it or put it in the Discord. But
listen, don't put Havertz in.
Yeah, that's unanimous.
Clear that up. Wood's not a bad shout though for a one week punt. Especially
I think it's that second one. So like he's saying this Wood is in both options, so I reckon he's saying about moving Wood out to Solanke or Havertz. So if that is the case, I'd rather have Solanke at the moment. And then he's mentioned Trent in both as well. So then he must be looking to either downgrade Trent to Porro or Trent to Van Dijk to upgrade Wood, I think.
I think if it's between Van Dijk and Porro, I think I prefer Porro just because Liverpool might rotate in Champions League.
So if Solanke and Porro is doable, maybe do that.
Yeah.
Rather than put Havertz with Porro.
Definitely don't put Havertz
in. Any others in here? Steve. Evening, Steve. Evening, lads. He just saying he's chickened out of putting McAtee in and went with Eze instead. But I think Eze's still done all right for you, hasn't he? But yeah, if he was going to bring McAtee in, which I've seen Steve comment a few times, and he goes rogue. He does bring in quite a few differentials.
Good shout.
I don't think he's just saying it for hindsight. Yeah, I think Eze's still finding it. Now, Gary, another one of our channel members, out of Eze and Palmer, which one should go? Get rid of Eze first?
Eze, yeah.
Palmer's the better. They're both great players, aren't they? But Nobble's referring to us talking about Arsenal. He's saying the ref was worse than Havertz. Take some doing. What did you think was specifically bad about the ref? Because I just felt like he lost grip of it, but the pen was very soft, wasn't it? Was there much else wrong other than he didn't spot stuff in the scuffle? He didn't book Bayindir. He didn't book Bayindir for taking about 3 minutes on every goal kick, where we've had Nwaneri booked for taking too long on a corner. We've had too long on throw-ins. I was surprised that he didn't get any time wasting cards out.
Yeah, and you had Fernandez throwing his boot around the pitch. He had that moment.
He did get booked for that.
He could have easily. Yeah, he did in the end, but I mean, he could have been sent off for this, couldn't he? But then there's no wonder he was so incensed, because it was an absolute stonewall free kick. I do not believe he didn't give the free kick. Well, neither did Fernandez either. That's why he just kept throwing his boot around the pitch. He just lost the game a little bit, didn't he? The ref. I think he got too used to having that backup of the AR.
We've got another one from Nobles saying, what do you sort of see as the ideal current team at the minute? I think everyone's still... I think we're all probably on Isak, Haaland, Salah, or majority. That seems pretty template, doesn't it? I think that's probably still ideal. Palmer being in at the moment, still ideal, just for the next couple.
Just.
Bruno, agreement on
you
Bruno?
got Bruno now, I think. Yeah.
And then I want Foden. I haven't got Foden. I know you captained him this week. Would you put Foden in there, Ben, for the next?
Yeah, I think I like a bit of Foden or Savinho. Probably.
You're gonna have a sprinkle in the City now, aren't you?
Yeah. No mention of De Bruyne, eh? Still not sure about him.
No, maybe if he starts playing the doubles in this run, he would maybe make his way back in. Maybe Foden, Haaland, and we've been talking about a defender. Maybe that's a bit too much until we know that they are concrete back. I think that fourth or third, whatever formation you've got, sort of thing, mid is up for debate. Like Kulusevski's quite popular, but you could probably make a debate for that extra spot, couldn't you, in midfield?
Yeah.
It's got to be Trent, isn't it? In defence, would your ideal defence be if you say 3 at the back now?
Trent, Porro, Gabriel. I think they're main men at the minute.
Yeah, I think so. I think Vardyol's very close though. It's just, yeah, I like Vardyol, but yeah, Trent might get rested in that second Champions League game, but he'll probably play in the Carabao Cup second leg, so he'll make up for it over the period.
It's obviously a position that's causing a lot of people aggro at the moment. But if you had no limit on budget and you had to pick a keeper,
I think Raya still for this next few game weeks. I still have Raya, and then probably if I could do a wild card on game week 23, I'd sell him.
yeah. All the
Yeah, I don't really
clean
put much
sheets-
thought into keepers.
Clean sheets have just cooled down a little bit, haven't they?
You've broken him, mate.
Hey, well, even Liverpool, son. I know that they did just keep one, didn't they, against Accrington Stanley? But theirs have calmed down a little bit now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Clean sheet wise, but Konate's back in the equation, so maybe. Well, as long as he is fit, he was left out last minute, wasn't he? Or did he come on?
I don't know, what's that game?
Because I remember the leaks were saying that he was going to start, and then all of a sudden he was out of the team. So I just quickly double check that. Yeah, have to wait and see on him. But yeah, I think they might be all right in the upcoming. Matt Willie saying, is there any case on a double up with Trent and VVD? Any love for Van Dijk?
No, not for me.
I don't mind that. It's double up.
Connor Bradley. Connor Bradley will be going in, won't he?
Not for Van Dijk though. That'll be for Trent.
No, for Trent, I know, but there's no double then, is it?
Mm.
It's a risky one.
Yeah, I think that's got to be roughly it, isn't it, for the perfect team. It's never as easy as that though. I think that's that's most of the live questions covered. Shall we quickly blast the leagues? Because I think we've skipped it for a little while now. No, we're pushing time.
Just do the top three.
Yeah, top three. Right. Let's go. Tonic tag team. Whew. In third, Paul McNulty and Andrew Ferguson. In second is myself and Connor. And in first, I can't remember your first names, guys. Sorry, S. Maxwell and A. Gregory. You guys know their first names?
No.
Well done anyway, guys.
There's too many names.
We'll remember the names when you go on to win it. Yeah, good luck, guys. Smashing it there. 84, 80 odd points ahead now currently. Anyone got the Cash League up?
Got Patreon Cash League. Patreon members only. We've got S. Powell in third, Lee Giles second, and Jack Miles top.
Well played.
And the Dream Team Tonic Cash League, open to all. Third, A. Gregory. Second, Dream Team Professor. And first, Jay Godwin.
Very well done, guys.
Doing a second chance league?
And a second chance.
Yeah.
I might have a chance here. No, I don't. Top three of the second chance is C. Sharkey in third, Tom Gledhill in second, and D. Malloy first.
Patreon Shield?
The Patreon Shield. Yeah, we need to see who's... Oh, God, I'm only just sneaking into this. Top 32 qualify. Oh, some big names down there that are getting kicked out. Rice Baby. Scott Harris, 41st.
Going on here.
You'll currently be eliminated.
How many rounds?
49.
How many rounds is it?
It's 5. This is the second round.
Oh, got to pull your fingers out.
Yeah, current top 3 is Steve Broughton in third, Kirkham in second, and Tom Gledhill in first. Obviously, you just have to be in the top 32 to get through to the next stage.
Do you get extra fixtures getting in the playoffs?
There is some, very big names down here.
It's only 10 points for me. 10 points away. Still confident.
Yeah. Won't mention who's down there at bottom, but yeah. Now you're going to out you on the pod.
All about the first chance this season. Right. It's been good to catch back up with you guys.
Yeah, good to see you, mate.
Cheers everyone that's tuned into this one. Again, if you do want to support the pod, become one of our YouTube channel members or Patreon members, there'll be a link in the description below. Or if you're just on YouTube now, you could just hit the join button. It's nice and easy that. And you get access to Ben's fixture ticker as well. That's going to be updated or already updated. So yeah, we'll.
Tony's published his article for January's. January as well. Yeah.
That will be on Patreon only. So the second tier on Patreon. You can check that one out still. Just having a look now. When's the deadline? We need to bring back these deadline streams as well, don't we? So game week 20. Who's kicking us off?
Newcastle Bournemouth.
It's Newcastle Bournemouth in the early kickoff. So
yeah, Saturday.
Let's bring back the live streams as well. Cool. See you all then.
Yep. Hopefully see you Saturday.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Cheers everyone.